Well, sir, do you know what it's time for?
It's time to go back to the future.
No, it's time to be awesome!
Oh. How long has it been since we got married?
Like 3 days?
Damn.
She's not. She hasn't had a child yet.
I know, I know. Look at you and your sardines. I have a question.
Yo.
What do the other girls still love you?
Um, they don't openly be all like, oh, if only I could spend more time with you, or if only you dance with me, wink, wink, anymore.
But I mean,
Except Dorothy is all like, oh, I'm so, you know, excited for you, dot, dot, dot.
okay.
So, Dorothy still holds a candle, the others hide it better. So yes, maybe, I don't know, whatever. Anyway. It feels weird to use the same controller to play games, multiple different games with very different control schemes.
Yeah, I get that.
Some games I can use the thumbstick, some games I have to use the direction pad. Some games I can use the thumbstick, but it's better to use the direction pad.
Fun.
Also, I was playing more Final Profit today because it got an update, like yesterday.
Oh.
They added a whole new thing to the game. That will be available on, I think, episode 14 of Final Profit, once that finally gets around to airing. So I figure for the recording that we have to do before the trip, we'll binge out on a whole bunch of Rune Factory. I'll do like an episode each day or something, I don't know. We'll play Rebuild until we're done, and then I'll replace Rebuild 3 with Final Profit for the semi-daily series. Because like I said, we probably only have like, what, 2, maybe 3 towns to go? So it doesn't seem like that much more to go. And shoot, what were the other videos I had to do? Sunday played up, that's good. Monday, I need to do some more of the VR game. I need to do at least 3 more episodes of that. And then Tuesday, Always Legacy to be replaced with Affogato, and I did that recording last night. Including the Affogato episode that's going up on my birthday.
How fun.
Yeah, it was so-so. I wanted to get into the coffee shop during the daytime so I could tinker around with, like, all of the furniture and stuff I'd unlocked. But for the entire episode, like 3 or 4 in-game days, there were constantly events during the morning time of the day, so I couldn't go into the coffee shop.
Well, that's inconvenient.
What makes it extra, I don't know, funny, frustrating, is that the previous episode was basically an entire hour of nothing special going on, so I could have rearranged the coffee shop at any time, but I didn't think of it until the very end of the episode. So So, you know, that's whatever. That's fun. I'll rearrange the shop eventually. Wednesdays, Danganronpa 2. That's still going well. We should finish it at some point, but no rush. Shoot. Well. So Thursday, we did do the rest of the episodes of Hitman that we needed, so don't have to worry about that until after the trip. Friday, miscellaneous stuff, which I think I've got that settled. I might need to do one more episode of, like, Eterna Noctis or something, so that's gonna be fine. Let's sleep. So yeah, primarily we just have to record more Rune Factory and Rebuild. That's the bulk of it. Also, last night someone proposed a topic that could make for a really interesting video.
Oh?
Yeah. Smash or pass, because everyone's talking about that ever since Markiplier did a video about that. Except with Magic the Gathering keywords. Which in this context would be more, oh shoot, wait, is Discord derping?
I don't think it is.
Okay. Well, it doesn't show me talking at all. There we go, now it's better. Anyway, so in this case it'd be more of, would you, someone who hasn't played Magic, think that this mechanic was a smash or a pass? Do you think it would be a good mechanic or not?
I mean, give me some samples.
You know what? Screw it. Here, let me just pause super quickly. You know what? Let's do that. We can go through and try to do it now. Okay, let's say keywords. So. Okay. This isn't quite all of them in alphabetical order, but yeah, let's go through some of them. Attach.
Can you describe what it does?
Yeah, let me just try to get back on game. It is used on auras, equipment, and fortifications. Attach is the ability to put one such permanent onto another such permanent. Like enchanting a creature or putting equipment on a creature. The act of being able to attach one permanent onto another. Smash or pass?
Smash.
Counter. Apparently this is okay. Specifically, counterspelling. Countering a, to countering a spell or ability to remove it from the stack, putting it directly into the graveyard, it does not get to resolve. The act of countering. Smash or pass?
Smash?
Exile. You know what? Wait, no. No. These aren't proper keywords. Here, let's go keywords. Alright. So never mind that. Death Touch. The ability where if a source has Death Touch and deals damage to a creature, no matter how much damage is dealt, as long as it's at least 1 damage, the creature will be destroyed.
That sounds pretty strong, yeah.
Smash or pass?
Smash.
Defender. A creature with Defender cannot attack.
That sounds bad.
Smash or pass?
Okay, sorry, I thought you would have assumed from the context. Pass.
Yeah. Double Strike. A creature with Double Strike deals both First Strike and normal combat damage. Guess we should have gone over First Strike first. So, when in combat, it essentially attacks twice.
I'd say that's a smash.
Alright. Enchant, went over that. Equip. So then, First Strike. A creature with First Strike deals its combat damage before creatures without First Strike.
Yeah, smash.
Flash. A spell that has Flash can be cast at any time you could cast an instant as opposed to just on your own turn. So a Flash spell can be cast on an opponent's turn.
That sounds like a smash.
Flying. Creatures with flying cannot be blocked except by other creatures with flying.
Yeah, I think that's a smash.
Haste. Creatures with haste can attack the turn they come into play. Or tap to activate abilities.
Sure, smash.
Hexproof. A permanent or player with hexproof cannot be the target of things that their opponents control. Cannot be the target of their opponents.
Sure, smash.
I lost all my health by accident. Whoops. Alright, indestructible. A permanent with indestructible cannot be destroyed. Pretty self-explanatory. I guess part of the qualification is how self-explanatory are these keywords. That would probably factor in, right?
I mean... Now, the thing is, that one sounds good, but I do know a little bit about the game to know that that isn't as powerful as it sounds.
Yeah. There are ways to remove stuff that have indestructible. It's just more difficult because you can't flat destroy it.
So I guess it's still a smash.
Lifelink. Permanents with lifelink cause the controller to gain life whenever it deals damage.
Very much a smash.
Menace. A creature with menace can only be blocked by 2 or more creatures.
Yeah, these are all still sounding good so far. Smash.
Protection. An object or player or whatever with protection cannot be damaged, enchanted, equipped, blocked, or targeted by anything of the what they are protected from. So it might be, say, protection from red, and cannot be damaged, enchanted, equipped, blocked, or targeted by anything that is red. For example.
Seems too situational. Pass.
Huh? Just wait until you meet my progenitors with protection from everything.
Well, okay, again, protection from everything is very different than protection from one color.
Yeah, well, protection in general. Protection from certain CMCs, protection from creatures in general, protection from lands, I think there's a thing with that, protection from a certain player. There's all sorts of protection stuff. Prowess. A creature with prowess gains +1/+1 until end of turn whenever a non-creature spell is cast by its controller.
Interesting.
So, temporary buffs if you cast certain types of spells. Smash or pass?
Say it again.
A creature with prowess gets +1/+1 until end of turn whenever its controller casts a non-creature spell.
Does it stack?
Yes.
Smash.
Reach. A creature with reach can block creatures with flying, as if it had flying. Bing!
Yeah, sure, smash.
Trample. If a creature with trample is blocked by a creature with less toughness than the trampling creature's power, excess damage gets dealt to the opponent.
That sounds fun. Smash.
Vigilance. If a creature with vigilance attacks, it does not get tapped.
Very interesting.
An important thing to note with this is creatures that are tapped cannot block.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that sounds powerful. Smash.
Alright. So, Absorb. Absorb X, where X is a quantity of damage prevented on a creature with the ability. So if a creature has Absorb 1 and would be dealt 1 damage, it's dealt 0 damage.
Sure. Smash.
Adapt. If a creature with Adapt has no +1/+1 counters on it, the player may pay the Adapt cost to put however many +1/+1 counters on that creature, as determined by the Adapt X ability. A one-time payment to make a creature stronger.
I don't know. We'll say pass for now.
Hard to tell? You say pass? Okay. Affinity. Affinity for equality. A card with Infinity for Quality costs 1 mana less to cast for each thing of that quality you control. So if it's like Affinity for Artifacts, it'll cost 1 less for each artifact you control. Infinity for lands, infinity for creatures, etc. Makes the spell cost less if you have that thing.
Right.
Morning.
Yeah, I guess that's a smash.
Alright. Afterlife. Oh, also, if you look at the game right now, you see a mention of Tabitha.
Oh.
Afterlife X. When this creature dies, its controller creates X 1/1 black and white spirit creature tokens with flying. So when it dies, make that number of 1/1 flying tokens.
That sounds like a very specific ability. Pass.
Pass. Aftermath. Only appears on instant sorceries. Specifically split instant sorceries. So it's like 2 cards in 1. This technically goes with the split mechanic. So if this card is in your graveyard, you can cast the Aftermath instant or sorcery by paying its mana cost and then exiling it from your graveyard. So you've already cast the spell, and then you can cast a different spell, because it has Aftermath.
Good morning.
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 I don't know.
Alrighty. Amplify. Amplify X. As a creature with Amplify enters the battlefield, its controller may reveal any number of creature cards from their hand that share a creature type with it. That creature enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters for each card revealed this way. So say if you play a slime with Amplify 1 and reveal 3 slimes from your hand, it'll enter with 3 counters.
I mean, sure. Smash.
Alright, Annihilate. Hi, kitty. Annihilator. Annihilator X. Whenever a creature with Annihilator attacks, the defending player has to sacrifice X permanents.
That sounds incredibly overpowered. Smash.
Ascend. It's an ability that checks if its controller has 10 or more permanents in play. Either continuously checking in the case of Ascend being on a permanent, or as the spell resolves in the case of instants and sorceries. Cards with Ascend also do an extra thing if the Ascend trigger is true. Or specifically if the Ascend trigger has been true over the course of that game.
Sure, smash.
Aura Swap. By paying the Aura Swap cost, a player may exchange the Aura with this ability with an Aura card in their hand, if they control and own the Aura with Aura Swap.
And what does an aura do?
An Aura gets attached to a creature, and it stays there, and it usually gives the creature an ability, or extra power and toughness, or both. So an aura might give like +1/+1 in flying, or for example, or there's one that gives like +10/+10 trample and annihilator 10. Or no, not annihilator 10, annihilator 2. Like, so if you had like say a cheap little aura with aura swap, you could go aura swap. Now this creature is +10/+10.
Sure. Smash.
Banding. My favorite mechanic. Let me just. The ability of banding is twofold. One, if any number of creatures you control with banding and at least one without can attack in a band. If at least one of those creatures could be blocked by an opponent, they all get blocked together. Or if at least one of them gets blocked, they all get blocked together. And two, when in combat, if one of your creatures in combat has banding, and are thus, in a band, during combat you get to decide how the other player assigns combat damage. This works for both attacking and defending. So suppose you control a 4/4 and I control 2/2/2s, and one of them has banding. Attack them together, you block, I decide, no, you only kill one of my creatures instead of both. Or if I attack you with some, 100/100 trampling creature, you block with a 1/1 banding creature and say, no, all the trample goes to this.
Good afternoon.
What happens if two players both have banding?
They decide how the other player's combat damage is dealt.
Ah.
They both decide for the other player.
Interesting.
Very useful with stuff like protection or indestructible.
Mm-hmm. I mean, from the way you describe it, it sounds really good, so smash.
And then there's bands with other. It functions similar to banding in the damage redirection and stuff, except in order for a creature with bands with other to be in a band, two things have to be true. One, the creature with bands with other has to have whatever quality the bands with other calls for, like bands with other legendary creatures, for example. And two, every other creature in the band, even if they don't have banding or bands with other, has to have that quality. So I could have a legendary creature with like bands with other legendary creatures, and 100 other legendary creatures, and have them all in a band.
So it's banding, but with more restrictions.
Yeah. More restrictions, except less restrictions because you can attack with a whole bunch of creatures in one band. But yes, banding with, generally speaking, more restrictions.
Yeah. No. Pass on that one.
There are 9 cards. Actually, wait, I think there's 10 cards in the history of Magic with the text bands with other. 5 of them are lands that grant the ability to your legendary creatures of a certain color. One of them is a non-legendary creature that makes 1/1 tokens with the bands with other ability. And I'm trying to remember. So, I don't remember the other. And one is a land with a tap ability to remove. No, one is a creature with a tap ability to remove bands with other from another creature.
Yeah, that just seems really useless.
Oh, no. One is actually a creature with its own innate bands with other. It was in an unset that had bands with other dinosaurs, and at the time, it was the only dinosaur card in Magic.
Wow.
I know, right? Alright. Battle Cry. When a creature with Battle Cry attacks, all other attacking creatures get +1 power until end of turn.
Sure.
Bestow. So, yes. Bestow is on enchantment creatures and allows you to cast the enchantment creature as either an aura or as a creature. So, say if it's on a 2/2 flying enchantment creature, whatever, you could bestow it to give another one of your creatures +2/+2 and flying. However, unlike regular auras, when a card with bestow is separated, like if the creature it's enchanting dies, the card with bestow stays on the field as a creature.
Interesting.
So essentially, it could be seen as auras that can just stick on the battlefield when their enchanted creature dies.
Sure. Smash.
Cool. Bolster, aka Bolster, which is Bolster X. When a player bolsters, they pick a creature with the lowest toughness among all the creatures they control and put X plus counters on it. Pumping up your weakest creature.
I don't know. Feels like there's better options than that. So, pass.
Bloodthirst. Bloodthirst X. A creature with Bloodthirst X, ETBs with an extra X plus counters on it if an opponent has been damaged during that turn.
Literally none of that came through.
Alright, a creature with Bloodthirst X enters the battlefield with an extra X plus counters on it if an opponent has been damaged during that same turn. So if you either use a spell to deal damage to an opponent or attack them and hit them, your Bloodthirst creature enters play a little bit stronger.
Meh.
Okay. Bushido. Bushido X. When a creature with Bushido blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +X until end of turn.
Yeah, I can see that working. Smash.
Alright. Buyback. It appears on instants and sorceries. It's an extra cost when casting the card, and if the buyback cost is paid, then instead of going to the graveyard after the spell resolves, it goes back to your hand.
Sure, sounds like it could be useful. Smash.
Cascade. When a spell with Cascade is cast, its controller reveals cards from the top of the deck until they reveal a non-land card with a lower cost. They may cast that card for free. And then put all of the cards not cast this way back on the bottom of the library.
It sounds like the vast majority of what that does is just reveal more of your deck to your opponent.
True, but when you cast a spell with Cascade, you get another spell for free. 2 for 1.
Yeah. I mean, if Cascade is the only ability, then definitely no, but...
Usually it's like, it might be the only ability, but like on a creature. It's usually on creatures, like, hey, I'll cast this creature, pay an extra 1 mana than what it deserves, but I'll also get like maybe another creature or a spell in addition.
Right.
So that 1 extra mana means, oh, I also get, I don't know, lightning bolt or something.
I'm gonna stick
Without having to draw it first. You saying a pass on Cascade?
Yeah.
Champion. Yeah, I did all that. Yes.
We are the champion.
More or less. The ability is written as champion a type, like champion a goblin or something. When a creature with champion enters the battlefield, its controller must exile a card they control of the appropriate type or sacrifice the champion. When the creature with champion leaves the battlefield, the creature exiled this way gets returned to the battlefield.
So basically, this whatever card has that as champion basically acts as like the Pokemon move substitute.
Well, more like the Pokemon evolving. But then when it gets knocked out, it just unevolves again.
So it did evolving.
Oh. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Oh, Alicia's feeling sick.
Sim salabim. Sim 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 salabim.
So what are your thoughts on Champion?
Sure.
Changeling. It gives the card all creature types.
That sounds powerful. Smash.
Notably, this can be put on cards that aren't even creatures.
Again, smash.
Cipher. Okay. Cipher is printed on Cipher is printed on sorceries. When a spell with Cipher resolves, its controller may exile it, quote-unquote, on a creature they control. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to an opponent, its controller can cast a free copy of that spell.
Yeah, that sounds pretty powerful.
Honestly, I don't know why people don't use it more often. It is pretty good. Clash. When a card says to clash, its controller chooses an opponent. Both players reveal the top cards of their libraries. Whoever has the highest CMC among the two of them wins. So a card might say, like, there's a spell that's like, destroy target enchantment, clash with an opponent. If you win, destroy all enchantments the opponents control. The revealed cards can be put either back on top or on the bottom of their controller's libraries as their controllers wish.
Eh.
Yeah, you kind of need to make sure that you have a higher CMC card on top for the clash to help, but it's kind of a scry at least. Ooh. Conspire. As a player casts a spell with Conspire, they may pay the optional additional cost of tapping 2 creatures that share a color with the spell. Then they copy the spell and may choose new targets for the copy. It's only on instants and sorceries.
Say it again.
As you cast a spell with Conspire, you can tap 2 creatures that share a color with the spell, and if you do, you copy the spell.
Nah, pass.
No? Interesting. Convoke. As a spell with Convoke is cast, its controller may tap any number of creatures. Each creature tapped reduces the card's mana cost by either 1 generic or 1 mana of the tapped creature's color. So if a spell, for example, costs 5 mana and it has Convoke, you could tap 5 creatures to cast it. Instead of paying any mana.
I mean, you'd have to be building towards making that useful. Like, it would really only be useful doing that, I think. You know, if your creatures that you're tapping just aren't directly useful. I don't know. Otherwise, it seems like a bit of a waste to tap creatures.
I will point out 2 things about this.
Casting another spell, so.
1, you can make tokens and tap the tokens. 2, if the spell is an instant or has flash, you can do this just before your turn, so you don't lose out on anything by having your creatures be tapped.
Yeah, but that's if it has flash, right?
If, yeah. Crew. It only appears on vehicles, which are artifacts which, when you crew them, turn into creatures. Crew X, you have to, again, tap creatures with total power X or more to turn the artifact into a creature.
I mean... Okay, again, it's a matter of, hey, you're giving up a bunch, multiple other things for the sake of this thing.
Not necessarily multiple. It could be 1 creature tapped to turn the vehicle into a creature. Until end of turn.
I mean, that one's hard to judge on its own, because again, it would have to be something that would be, again, worth sacrificing however much that you're sacrificing to get whatever its stats are. And is it only like a creature until the end of the turn, or what is it?
Yes. Until end of turn, vehicles tend to have bigger stats than what their crew is. So it might be like a 3/3 when it's a creature, but it have like crew 1 or 2. So yeah.
Yeah, but then it's also just 1 creature, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give that one a pass.
Alright. Cumulative upkeep. At the beginning of each of its controllers' upkeeps, an age counter is put on a card. Then they have to pay the cumulative upkeep cost for each age counter on it, or sacrifice it.
Yeah, that just sounds bad.
Yeah, it's a downside to cards that have really good abilities. So in this case, it would be how good of a downside is it? So yeah, cumulative upkeep, is our first strictly negative ability on our list.
Yeah.
It's like there's a land, Glacial Chasm, I'm pretty sure, that has, among other things, you cannot take damage. But it also has cumulative upkeep, pay 2 life. Alright, okay. Cycling. You may discard a card with cycling from your hand by paying the cost. Usually it's 1 mana, sometimes 2 mana. And then you may draw a card. This is often on either lands or expensive spells, so you could get rid of cards you don't need and basically replace them just by paying like a bit of mana. Again, usually it's mana. Hello? Did Discord cut out again? Oh, hi.
Hi, sorry. I got distracted by my oncoming sneeze.
Understandable. Do you want me to repeat the keyword?
Please.
Cycling. By paying the cycling cost and discarding the card, you get to draw a card. The cycling cost is usually 1 or 2 mana. Cycling tends to be printed on either expensive spells or on lands, so at a time when you don't need the card, you can replace it for a small cost.
Morning.
Yeah, okay, Smash.
And then a variant of cycling, type cycling. Usually it's like island cycling, plain cycling, whatever. You discard it, pay the cost, and like search for a card of that type. So it's like plain cycling, search for a basic plains card and put it into your hand.
Morning. Leave it to me.
God, I'm sorry. Somehow I don't think that stuck in my brain at all.
Type cycling, where you pay the cost and discard the card, but instead of drawing a card, you search your library for a card of a specific type to put into your hand. So it might be like plains cycling, and you'll search for a basic plains.
Morning. Good morning.
Or like wizard cycling, and you'll search for a wizard card to put into your hand.
Morning.
Sure, I guess.
Dash. When casting a creature with dash, you may choose to instead pay the dash cost. If you do, it gains haste until end of turn, but it's also returned to its owner's hand at the end of turn. So you could either pay its regular cost and just have a creature that just sits out there that you can attack with next turn, or you get to attack with it this turn, but it has to return back to your hand. Is everything alright? Discord's still working?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just... Bleh. You know?
Oh no.
Bleh.
Just busy being sick or busy thinking?
Busy being tired. It's been a day.
Yes. It usually bees a day. Yeah. Don't worry, so the episode's gonna be over soon. Think you can handle a few more keywords until then?
Eh.
So what do you think of Dash? Smash or pass?
I'll say pass.
Alright, Daybound and Nightbound. So. Daybound, Nightbound is pretty much only on permanent cards. When a card with Daybound comes into play, it changes to day, and once it changes to night, the card gets flipped to its Nightbound side. In order for it to change from day to night, the turn player must cast 0 spells during their turn. Then at the start of the next turn, it'll change to night. And if it is night, the turn player has to cast at least 2 spells, and then at the beginning of the next turn, it'll change back to day. So it's a werewolf mechanic. So you cast them as like the human side, and then when it changes to night, they turn into like big scary wolves.
Werewolf? Werewolf.
Yes. Smash or pass?
Um... Nah, pass.
A lot of Magic players agree with you on that one. Delve. When casting a spell with Delve, you can exile cards from your graveyard to pay for the generic mana cost of the spell. Well, as much of the generic mana cost of the spell as you wish. So it's cost reduction, but you just have to exile cards from your graveyard to do it.
Eh.
Oh. You going with pass on that one?
I guess so.
Alright. Alrighty. Detain. When a player detains a permanent, the detained permanent cannot attack... Whoops. Cannot attack, block, or use activated abilities until the start of the player's next turn, the player who detained it. So if you detain one of my creatures, I can't use it to block your attacks this turn or to attack you on my turn.
Interesting.
Smash or pass?
Smash.
Cool. Devour. Devour X. As a creature with Devour ETBs, its controller may sacrifice any number of creatures to put X plus counters on the devouring creature for each creature sacrificed. So if you cast a card with, like, Devour 1, cast it, sacrifice 3 creatures, it enters with 3 extra counters.
Sure.
Oh? Interesting. Dredge. Dredge X. If a card with Dredge is in your graveyard and you would draw a card, you may instead choose to mill that many cards, whatever the X is, to put the card with Dredge from your graveyard back into your hand.
Sure.
Oh. Yeah, a lot of people thought that the mechanic sucked when it was first introduced. Turns out it's absolutely broken. Echo. Or a second negative, strictly negative ability. I think. Yeah. Cards with Echo require their Echo cost to be paid at the beginning of the controller's upkeep the turn after it comes into play. Or is gained control of. If the Echo cost is not played, the card gets sacrificed.
Huh.
So you might pay, 4 mana for an 8/8 beat stick or something, but it doesn't have haste, so you have to wait till your next turn. But then next turn you also have to pay another 4 mana for it. Or sacrifice it before it can attack.
Yeah, that... No.
No?
That sounds
Alright.
bad.
Embalm. Appears on creature cards. When a card with this ability is in your graveyard, you may pay the Embalm cost and exile it to create a token that is a zombie copy of the creature. In addition to whatever other types it had.
Intriguing.
Yes. Essentially, yeah. Your creature dies and you make a mummy of it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Emerge. It's an alternate mana cost. That you can pay for casting a creature by sacrificing a creature and paying the difference between the emerge cost and the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. So, hey, I want to get out this really big creature. Oh, well, I have this, 2-drop. Emerge cost, say, 7. Well, I pay 5 mana and sacrifice that creature. Get out this creature. You can cast a big creature for cheaper by sacrificing a creature. And paying slightly less mana. Yeah, I guess it's similar to Champion. Except you don't get the creature, you don't get the first creature back when the second one dies, but the second creature does cost a little bit less. What you think?
My mind's a blank.
Alright. I guess let's move on then. Just two more, because I see one I want to get to. What's this say? Trying to do two things at once here, and I'm failing on both. Entwine. Okay. All cards with Entwine are modal spells with two choices. Normally, a player would choose one or the other. So you might cast a spell, it's like, destroy target creature with flying, or you can destroy an artifact. We'll get to modal much later. With Entwine, you can pay an extra cost, and then you get to destroy a creature with flying and also destroy an artifact.
Interesting.
You get to do both choices instead of just one for a little bit of extra mana. Smash or pass?
Smash.
Alright. And the one we'll be ending this episode off with, Epic. It has two effects. First, after a player casts a spell with Epic, they can no longer cast spells for the remainder of the game.
Why would you always want that?
However, at the beginning of each of their upkeeps for the rest of the game, the player puts a new copy of the Epic spell on the stack. Officially, this does not count as casting the spell. And they don't have to pay any mana for it.
Huh.
Epic appears only on a cycle of 5 rare sorceries from Saviors of Kamigawa. So, like, I think the blue one is search your library for, like, search an opponent's library for, like, an artifact, creature, enchantment, or land, and put it onto the battlefield under your control. So at the beginning of each of your upkeeps, you can just search their library for a card, put it into play for free. For example, big, powerful, expensive spell, and you get to do that every turn, but you cannot cast anything else.
I don't know. Sounds risky.
Oh?
Hello?
Hello?
Well, like I said, I don't know. That sounds risky.
Yeah, I heard that and then I said, oh. Like, both the question mark?
Oh, it sounded like you said hello?
No. So, smash or pass on Epic?
Sure. Smash.
What's really fun to do with Epic is manage to cast an Epic spell and then copy the spell, so you get it twice per turn for the rest of the game.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Or cast an Epic spell and then somehow flash in a second Epic spell. Basically, yeah, getting 2 Epics instead of 1 is twice as good. But I've had some very memorable games where I managed to get an Epic spell out, and like the game just changed. Like, yeah, I don't care about the cards I'm drawing. Give me your Eldrazi from your deck. I had an entire game where 2 of us were fighting over the third player's giant Eldrazi creature for the entire game, because they kept using steel spells to take it. I kept stealing steel spells to take it back. Someone killed it, went back to the library. Fine, I'll epic it back into play! Now that was one heck of a game. But it's like they say, you know, it's time to be epic.